Most common logical fallacies to fall asleep to. 1. The Strawman fallacy. In the soft stillness of the night, let's begin with a fallacy as flimsy as the name suggests, the strawman. This occurs when someone misrepresents another person's argument just to make it easier to refute, like crafting a scarecrow instead of facing a real opponent. It's easier to fight a caricature than a complex idea. So when someone says, "We should have better healthcare," the strawman might reply, "Oh, so you want the government to control every aspect of our lives?" It's a distortion, deliberate, lazy, or perhaps subconscious, and it shifts the focus away from the real discussion. Much like the way your thoughts shift when you're just about to sleep, from clarity to abstraction, from precision to dreaming. But while dreams are allowed their vagueness, arguments demand honesty. The strawman doesn't deal in truth. It floats, hollow and harmless at first glance, but eventually it empties meaningful conversation. As you lie down and drift deeper, let your thoughts be clearer than straw, and your heart kinder to those who are misunderstood. 2. Ad hominem. Next, let your mind wander gently into the realm of the ad hominem, a fallacy as personal as it is pointless. Here, instead of responding to an argument, one attacks the character of the person making it. You can't trust her opinion on education. She's never even been to college. But truth isn't limited to degrees or status. It isn't tied to the speaker's name or face. It simply is, independent, untamed, and unoffended. The ad hominem fallacy tries to tether ideas to identity, but in the quiet space between wakefulness and dreams, you begin to understand we must separate people from the points they make. Disagreement doesn't demand disrespect. Critique need not become cruelty. Let your mind slow here, resting in the knowledge that we are all flawed, yet still capable of wisdom. Sleep approaches like a friend who sees your value beyond any insult. 3. Appeal to authority. Now we encounter a fallacy that wears a suit and tie, the appeal to authority. This one says, "Believe it because an expert said it." And while it's true that experience matters and wisdom can be earned, we must remember that titles don't guarantee truth. Doctors have disagreed. Scientists have changed their minds. Professors have been wrong. An expert's word can guide us, but never replace our responsibility to reason. In a world overloaded with opinions, credentials can feel comforting, like a blanket, but even blankets, if too heavy, can smother. As your eyes begin to close, let this idea settle. It's okay to trust authority, but never stop asking, why? True understanding is a light you carry within, even when others try to hand you theirs. 4. False dilemma. As your breathing deepens, allow yourself to step into the trap of the false dilemma, but only for a moment, because you're wise enough to walk out of it. This fallacy tells you there are only two choices, yes or no, right or wrong, for or against. But life isn't a coin toss. It's a horizon. There are middle paths, hidden roads, secret gardens of thought. The false dilemma demands urgency. Either you're with me, or you're my enemy. But in truth, most situations are nuanced. Relationships, beliefs, decisions, they all exist on a spectrum. Just as sleep isn't instantly awake or instantly unconscious, reasoning often lives in the space between extremes. So when someone forces you into a binary, smile gently and remember, the truth rarely shouts. It whispers from the middle. 5. Slippery slope. This fallacy doesn't walk, it tumbles. The slippery slope warns that one small step will lead to disaster. If we allow this one exception, chaos will follow. But life isn't always that fragile. Not every path leads to a cliff. Often, change is gradual, gentle, and entirely reversible. Fear exaggerates the future, turning small decisions into apocalyptic visions. But tonight, In your calm state, you know better. You know that most things do not spiral, they evolve. Your thoughts, too, are evolving now from waking to dreaming. And just as one yawn doesn't guarantee a full sleep, one change doesn't mean total collapse. Trust the present, trust the pace. Nothing is slipping. You are simply sinking deeper into serenity. 6. Circular reasoning. Round and round it goes. The circular reasoning fallacy, where the conclusion is tucked into the premise like a snake eating its tail. I'm trustworthy because I always tell the truth. And I always tell the truth because I'm trustworthy. There's no real proof here, only repetition. But in this loop, there's a kind of rhythm, and as you rest, you might find it oddly comforting, like a lullaby that returns to the same chorus. Still, your mind knows to look for more. True reasoning doesn't run in circles. It travels forward, exploring, uncovering, seeking. Tonight, as you drift, let your thoughts spiral only toward sleep, not toward flawed logic. Let questions have answers, not echoes. 7. Hasty generalization. A single bad meal means the restaurant is awful. One rude stranger means the whole city is unfriendly. This is the hasty generalization, where conclusions are drawn too quickly, without enough evidence. It's the impatient cousin of true analysis. But your breathing is steady now, and you're not in a rush. You know that the world is too big, too beautiful, too diverse to be defined by a few moments. One raindrop doesn't make a storm. One experience doesn't define a truth. Let yourself stretch into the vastness of possibility, where every new encounter is fresh and unburdened by assumptions. Sleep now, slowly, fairly, generously. 8. Post hoc false cause. It happened after, so it must have happened because that's what this fallacy insists. You drank tea, then your headache vanished. So tea must be magical, right? The post hoc fallacy loves simple connections, but the world is full of coincidences, and sometimes events are just neighbors, not relatives. Let your mind be free from the pressure to assign meaning to every sequence. You turned off the lights and the dog barked. The moon rose and you felt calm. These things may align, but not every pairing has purpose. In sleep, we let go of logic altogether, and sometimes that's when the deepest truths emerge. 9. Bandwagon fallacy. Everyone's doing it, so should you. That's the bandwagon talking. But you, in your peaceful solitude, know better. The number of people who believe something doesn't make it true. Truth isn't decided by popularity. It doesn't trend. It endures quietly, even when no one is watching. As you lie still in your bed, remember this. Your thoughts don't need to echo the crowd. They can whisper something original, something true, something just for you. 10. Appeal to emotion. Finally, we reach the fallacy that feels warm and persuasive, the appeal to emotion. It doesn't argue with facts. It pulls at heartstrings. Do it for the children. You'll make your grandmother proud. But decisions made in the haze of guilt or pity often blur the lines of truth. Emotions matter. They color our world, but they are not the compass. As your heart slows with rest, let your emotions soften, not sway you. Let reason and feeling walk together into the night, holding hands, equally trusted. You don't have to choose between caring and thinking. You can do both beautifully. 11. Red herring. As you float deeper into a state of rest, imagine a trail of thought leading somewhere true, until suddenly, something pulls your attention away. That's the red herring, a distraction dressed as relevance. This fallacy throws in unrelated points during a discussion, subtly shifting the focus without resolving the original issue. We shouldn't worry about climate change when there are people still unemployed. It sounds important, and maybe it is, but it doesn't address the initial argument. It's like drifting off to sleep and suddenly remembering an old embarrassing moment, irrelevant, distracting, and slightly frustrating. But in the quiet of your resting mind, you learn to gently set aside the red herrings. Let the distractions pass like clouds. Your awareness returns to what matters. You don't need to chase every passing thought. You're not a fish being lured away. You're a still, calm sea tonight. 12. False equivalence. And now, we arrive at the quiet confusion of false equivalence, a fallacy that treats two unequal things as if they're exactly the same. Both sides made mistakes. Someone might say, equating a minor misstep with a major betrayal. But everything has weight. Some words are heavier, some actions deeper. This fallacy erases nuance and balance in the name of false fairness. It's like saying a paper airplane and a crashing jet are both just flying objects. In your gentle state tonight, your mind recognizes the difference. Everything doesn't have to be equal, just understood. Injustice cannot be solved by pretending both parties are the same. Peace does not come from erasing contrast, but from honoring complexity. And as your body rests, your spirit embraces the quiet truth. Some things are different, and that's okay. 13. No true Scotsman. Drifting further into peaceful thought, you come across the no true Scotsman fallacy, a sneaky form of gatekeeping that redefines a group to protect an argument. No true artist would ever use digital tools, someone might say, dismissing any counterexample by shifting the definition. It's a defense mechanism cloaked in pride, an attempt to exclude uncomfortable truths by changing the rules mid-game. But definitions should be rooted, not reactive. The truth doesn't need shrinking. It can hold contradictions, exceptions, and evolution. As your thoughts slow to a gentle hum, let go of the need to defend identity by exclusion. True peace comes when you allow truth to be big enough for all kinds of people, even those who don't fit your perfect picture. Let the boundaries soften. Let understanding expand. In sleep, there are no borders, only blending. 14. Burden of proof. Now we enter the realm of the burden of proof, a fallacy that says, I don't need to prove anything. You have to disprove me. It's the lazy shield of the weak argument, shifting responsibility unfairly. Ghosts exist unless you can prove they don't. It might say, but that's not how reasoning works. In logic, the one making a claim must carry the weight of proof. Otherwise, we'd believe anything just because we can't disprove it. But don't worry, your tired mind doesn't need to prove or disprove anything tonight. The only claim here is that you are safe, warm, and free to rest. In sleep, there is no argument to win, no burden to carry. Let the pressure fade. The world can debate tomorrow. Tonight, you only need to believe in calm. 15. Appeal to ignorance. The appeal to ignorance fallacy arrives silently, much like sleep itself. It says, because we don't know it's false, it must be true, but uncertainty isn't evidence. Lack of knowledge isn't proof of anything. We can't prove aliens don't exist, so they must be out there. It's tempting, especially when mystery feels romantic. But the unknown is a space for wonder, not for conclusions. As you lie in the dark, perhaps gazing at the ceiling or closing your eyes to dream, let yourself rest in the gentle mystery. You don't have to fill the silence with assumptions. You can just be. The universe is wide, your bed is soft, and sometimes, I don't know is the wisest thing to say. Let ignorance be a canvas, not a claim. Let sleep paint it slowly. 16. Anecdotal fallacy. As the night deepens, we encounter a familiar comfort, stories. And with stories comes the anecdotal fallacy, using personal experience as the only proof. It worked for me, so it must work for everyone. But your story is not the world, just a window. Others live different lives, face different circumstances, carry different truths. Anecdotes are beautiful but fragile. Like dreams, they're vivid but personal. They can inspire, but not define. Tonight, let your own memories drift by. Don't grip them too tight. They are yours, not universal. Let them rise like bubbles and pop gently, making room for silence, for empathy, for rest. Your experience matters, but so does everyone else's. That knowledge is humbling and strangely comforting too. 17. Genetic fallacy. Some ideas are dismissed not because of what they are, but where they come from. That's the genetic fallacy, rejecting or accepting something solely based on its origin. He got that idea from the internet, so it must be wrong. Or it came from a religious text, so it must be true. But origins don't guarantee truth or falsehood, content does. A flower from a cracked sidewalk can still bloom. Wisdom can come from unlikely places. As your body lies still and your breathing slows, let go of judgment based on source. Listen with fresh ears. Whether it comes from an elder, a stranger, or a whisper from within, truth can surprise you. Even dreams, after all, come from the wild chaos of your mind and still manage to make you feel something real. 18. Appeal to nature. Because it's natural, it must be good. That's the voice of the appeal to nature fallacy, which forgets that not everything in nature is kind. Poison is natural, so is lightning, so is decay. This fallacy clings to the illusion that natural equals better. But you know now, in your resting state, that value isn't tied to origin. Some synthetic things save lives. Some wild things harm. Wisdom lies not in where something comes from, but in what it does, what it means, how it heals or harms. Tonight, nature surrounds you, the air, the quiet, the pulse of life. But you're not captive to labels. You're free to choose. Let your thoughts be natural, yes, but let them also be kind, clear, and curious. Rest in what helps you, not in what simply is. Now rest in logic and peace. You've journeyed through 18 twists of thought, places where the mind can stumble. And now, knowing them, you can see them, avoid them, or at least smile when you meet them. Tonight, let those fallacies melt away like fog at dawn. Let truth be your pillow. Let understanding be your blanket. And let your thoughts, free from confusion, drift into deep and perfect rest. Good night, thinker. Sleep well.